Hello, this is Benji Warrior. You're listening to Authentic Warrior Radio. It's a podcast devoted to authenticity, resilience, and communication between diverse and passionate people. Thank you for tuning in.
Also, don't get it twisted. This podcast is also devoted to antics, insanity, and humor, as well as whatever the heck else we feel inspired to talk about. I'm not going to say much before I introduce my guests. I'm only going to say thank you to Molly the Cop, Mike Rowe, Megan, my sister, Chris Cook, and Matt Hagum. Also, I should probably mention that if you don't want to get punched in the face, go to Cageside Fight Co., cageside.com, and purchase yourself some headgear, and a mouth guard, and some boxing gloves, and some shin guards, and a cup. And maybe some things to put inside your boxing gloves so they don't smell like a carcass, and maybe some rash guards, and get yourself a hoodie. I love my hoodie, my Toro hoodie, because Cageside and Toro BJJ affiliates of each other. Okay, they're the same company. And then if you want your brain to work good, I shouldn't do that because I'm like sort of in a way making a statement about people with southern accents not having brains that work good. If you would like your brain to work better than it ever has before, go to the Genius brand. See, my brain is not a good example of one that works better than ever before. If you want to have a brain that functions optimally in terms of its own potential, listen to me. Listen to me. If you want your brain to work better than it has in your lifetime, at least since you killed the last large batch of brain cells, okay, I'm just going to say go to supplementsmarter.com, use the promo code WARRIOR, buy yourself some Genius mushroom supplements, and get your brain working good. I did it again. And other than that, please enjoy this episode with Hunter Clagett and Lara Carter. Okay, so I'm here with Hunter Clagett and Lara Carter.
Hello.
Two of my closest home people.
The home people.
Yes, it's the gender neutral equivalent.
Home persons?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Hunter is a pro fighter and coach and family man. And Lara is the gym mom.
Is that my title? I usually tell people I'm the owner.
The Czar of marketing. And we wanted to talk about community and martial arts and things that are important to us, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's been a pretty crazy week. Mm-hmm. We've in the space of the week we flipped our whole program. Changed all our marketing, built a website, built advertising, built a schedule, hired a professor of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's been quite a week, I didn't want to get into details. Like I didn't want to come out and it's never really my thing. Like if anyone knows me, it's never my goal to go out and savage people or talk a bunch of smack in the community. I've always felt like you kind of behave in a certain way and people know who you are and you don't need to say things. But the sketch is just that we had, a jiu-jitsu instructor come in this last fall and over the summer. And, he was a great guy. I really like him. And the confusing part is I still really like him. And then, this last Thursday, they informed us that, he's going to be moving on and opening up his own academy at the beginning of June, and which gives us about over 5 weeks of lead time on that. So not a lot of time, no warning whatsoever. There's never a conversation leading up to this where, we were told that they were looking to do this, where we could prepare for it. So it was just really surprising. And, it's really hard to maintain positive outlook when that kind of thing occurs. But, so we're working it out. And, I just feel really bad in some ways, more than even for us. Because, we've been doing this a long time. I've been training since 2003.
We've been in business 10 years, the gym has.
Yeah, the gym's been open, and I've been an integral part of that the entire time. And as a gym, first as a student, then a gym manager, and then as the owner eventually. And so, and every one of my mentors like said that this kind of thing, it happens, and then it's happened to them sometimes multiple times. So it's not unusual. It just sucks when, people don't communicate properly, and it leads to really hurt feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it, weirdly enough, I don't think it hurt us as much as it hurts the students.
Well, that's exactly. I was kind of getting to that. Like, I feel really bad for students who now feel like there's some sort of split loyalty, that different groups of people that they look up to, are now at odds, and they feel really awkward about it. And I just hope people understand that nothing they decide individually will ever make me angry or feel upset at them, like they betrayed me or Margem or whatever.
No, I feel like this was such a sudden thing and I think we were all unaware of what was happening, that I think that, you can't help but just be like, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I've been feeling all week I've been very sad about it, but I've also been like, this is an opportunity to change and do the things that we need to do to make our program better.
No, definitely, because that's my goal. Like, ultimately, we had to make moves to protect our business and, do what we need to do to protect our current students. But I'm excited for the future. I think that's the only way you can be, because, I think it's really easy to get, wrapped up in, being angry about things that have happened instead of trying to move on and just improve what you're doing, right? And
well, exactly. I mean, we could sit around and be angry and be sad all week, or we could today, for example, I redid our whole ad campaign and I redid part of the website, and yesterday we redid the schedule, and it's hard, but I feel pretty optimistic. I think that it's sometimes when things happen, when there's a change in the group dynamic, it's always hard at first, but then you make a new group dynamic and you try to make that group dynamic even stronger.
Yeah. Well, and it's you can look at it it's how you respond to failure and or setbacks. I think defines a lot about people. I think it's really important that you take those opportunities to look and be reinvigorated and say how can I now improve my life with this new information, right?
Well, you know what's really funny is, so we put out the announcement on Monday, and we handled it as professionally as we could. And people, some of the statements that people would ask me was oh, was there drama? Was it this? Was it that? No, it's just business. You talk to your attorney, you talk to your mentors, you talk to your senior students who are teaching, and they all give you their advice, and then you make a decision that is for the business. It isn't a personal decision.
Well, and what I'd say is just if it becomes just about business because people don't make it about friendship. If you're going to push things to where, things that friends wouldn't do, then you are just a business in a relationship, and that's when you just have to act on that. But, I mean, that's about as much as I want to say about it, ultimately.
It reminds me of, the focus on improvement, though, following. Reminds me of, the first time I ever had my heart broken by a girlfriend. Because, there was these, 3 stages that I went through, and the first was, what do I have to do to get her back? I got to improve myself in all these ways, and I literally wrote a list.
Yeah.
And then it was well, that's not going to work, so to spite her, I'm going to do all these things to make myself better, and then when she sees me, she's going to regret it. And then it was and then I was actually, I finally reached the point where I was actually, I don't want her back, but I should do all these things for myself.
Yeah, right.
And so even if there were hurt feelings and possibly some bitterness or whatever, the way that the gym is changing is going to benefit everybody in it.
Right.
No,
And
it's
it
interesting.
doesn't seem like you're doing it for that reason either.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we did have this funny moment, because we know a guy, we'll leave him pretty anonymous, who runs, he now runs a huge gym. He's 1,000 students. And the reason he started this gym is it was a spite gym.
It was a revenge gym. It's
Revenge
like
gym.
Count of Monte Cristo shit.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't want to call him out, but because I don't know how well known this is, but basically
You know what he'll say? He'll be like, "Yeah, they're talking about me because I'm the shit. Everybody's copying me."
But he was he didn't his former coach was he really he was pissed off about it, so he's like, I'm gonna create the best gym in the frickin' area and sink their asses. And so, but he's done this amazing thing, built this really big gym and this incredible institution.
Well, and at some point, it became the revenge thing was oh,
yeah, maybe this is just really awesome.
This is an awesome gym, and it's seriously an amazing gym.
So
if we lived there, we would train there.
Actually, I'd be curious to ask him if that rationale, that thought process, still is present.
I don't think it is, because he doesn't seem as mad now.
No, I mean, he's too busy to be mad.
I know, we go and he's cleaning all the time.
I know.
We went recently to ask him some business advice, before all the stuff with the gym happened recently. And we're up there in his gym, and he's sweeping the floor and hustling around, and he disappears, and then he showed up again. And can I tell you, he gave us some of the best advice ever. This guy is really, really smart about running a gym.
Yeah.
He's just really good at it.
And the main piece of advice, and this is a good way to segue into fighting and stuff, which is that he's look, you have to do something 100%. You can't run a gym and fight, or kind of run a gym and kind of fight. You're gonna get your ass kicked, and you're gonna have an unsuccessful business, right? You either need to prioritize one or the other, and that's one of the reasons why this is my last year to compete. It's just it's too much. It's too much for any one human to do. And, I luckily have got Laura, who's so behind me in all this. She could really, killing it on, taking stuff off my plate and, to allow me to focus more on training. And we've had this conversation where, sometimes it's really hard. She wants me to help her make a decision. And I'm like, look, you just have to decide it, because I don't have the mental bandwidth for this right now.
Sometimes I don't even ask you anymore. I just do it, and then you're like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "I did it."
And that's fine. I have to learn to let go too, because I've made that mistake of trying to teach too much instead of train. And it's a tough thing, because you give up, you sacrifice some of the benefit of your students and of your business in order for your personal goals, and that's kind of where I'm at. It's getting harder and harder to make that choice. And also, it's just I'm getting older. It's harder to physically do it. And not
there's always you come home, and it's you're creaking around, and and I'm like, ooh, who left a crack in the door? I can hear the breeze, and it's just creak, creak, creak. But I'm like, are you okay? And you're like, my knee, my hip, my arms,
my neck, my back,
my neck. My eyeballs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird injuries, and just like not feeling good, and
yeah,
it's normal. It's wear and tear.
It's just what it is. Like, you feel that way occasionally when you're in your 20s, but like sometimes that night you feel like, hey, I feel better. You wake up the next day and you're like a little sore, but I'm ready to go.
You know what I was surprised about? Like the fact that you have had over 30 fights and you have MRI and your brain looks great. I mean, how unfair is that?
I know, right? I mean, shit.
I mean, there are people who fight and they don't even
figures?
fight that much, and they have like tons of issues with their brain.
Yeah.
Can I get one of those?
Of course.
Thank you.
Benji's got some like soda water.
Yeah. Benji's off the sauce.
Benji's off the sauce. Yep.
This is good. I like this stuff though. I was just drinking I've been really into the hopped kombucha from Kombucha Town.
It's his like filler for beer because he can't really drink beer during a training camp.
Like that. Honestly, I just like hops. I think You're
just hoppy.
Yeah, I'm just hopping around.
But yeah, so this is your last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. I think like it's better to retire rather be retired. Like,
Yeah.
like it's pretty bad. Like everybody's been calling us this week.
Right.
Like, it's really bizarre. Like, people have been calling us and just talking to us. I feel like we're like a couple that got divorced and now everybody's checking in.
Yeah, like crisis intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Just
like,
stay on the phone with me. Just stay on the phone.
yeah, no, like, we've been getting calls from, like, people who never call us. Like, Austin's, like, called you, like, every other day.
Every
and he
day
just wants to
almost,
chat with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
cool,
cool,
though.
though,
It's
yeah.
fun, though, because he's a funny guy.
He is.
And then Landon's been calling you, and you called him, and
Yeah.
he's like, stop fighting, run your gym.
Yeah. No, he's just giving me the best advice.
He
can,
has great advice. Like, a lot of the advice that Landon's given us, like, whenever I make a decision at the gym, I'm like, what would Landon do?
Landon Showalter.
Yeah.
WWLD.
Right. No, honestly, like, and he's because he's a pretty straight, like, shooter, clear cut kind of man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And so one thing you always know with Landon is where you stand with him, because he'll make it very clear very quickly. But yeah, when it comes to that kind of advice, like, he just knows that I have to make those sacrifices. You have to sacrifice something, and his advice is to, like, prioritize the gym, because that's, like, something that could last my whole lifetime, right? Whereas the fighting is, I mean, even if I wanted to push it, I could get into my late 30s. But the likelihood of being able to keep doing it into your 40s is, like, incredibly limited.
But you have to admit, though, that, like, taking this fight with CFFC has been amazing, because this is like one step below the UFC.
Yeah, no, I'm
This
super
is
excited
like
about
it's like you're really close to touching that big old star, right?
Yeah, and it's hard because, like, I know, ironically, even if I was like, okay, committing, this is my last fight.
You're gonna go out there and, like, slam dunk this fight, and then they're gonna be like, "You want to fight for us again?"
Exactly, and they'll offer me another one, and it's sort of like, you just, like, it's like that final beer, and you're, like, trying to leave the bar. Like, okay, I'll have one more beer, but I'm gonna go, and then it's like, hey, but there's another frosty cold one sliding my way.
Yeah, hey, this guy over here just said it's on him. Like, this guy over here just bought you around.
Yeah, like, fuck, okay. And then, you're Ubering home, whatever that means in this metaphor. Like, you got a bad knee and back, I don't know.
I think Ubering home, like, from a UFC fight is the equivalent of, like, a stretcher.
Yeah, right, totally, yeah.
You should probably not.
Because you're not with your friends, you're alone.
Uber thing.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know what, though? Like, you should talk about, like, the crazy amount of exams you have to take for this license.
Oh, yeah, one thing, okay, so it's a dual-edged sword. Like, so fighting in California as a pro is pretty intense. Like, the requirements there's like a laundry list. You have to have an MRI of your brain. You need to get a neurological exam. You need to get a physical. And one of the parts of the physical, it's crazy, excuse me, is that you have to jump 100 times, get your heart rate and blood pressure checked, wait 2 minutes, do it again, they check, and then third time through the cycle, like 3 times.
Do they have a height that you have to jump?
I don't know. Are these bunny hops? Are you talking, like, deep knee jumps, like full? Because, like, 300 deep squat jumps, that's...
Did you do it?
No, I haven't gone in because I want to get all of these smaller examinations done before I get the main physical. But it's almost done. Like, I have my ophthalmologist scheduled for the 1st. And
get your passport
it's like
photos.
Are they box jumps?
Yeah, right. No, I'm gonna start training for my exam.
The doctor pulls out a box.
Like,
Hunter.
Some of the other pros I know who are fighting down there, like, I did it once, and then I was like, told my doctor, I'm like, I'm not doing that again. Like, just write something down for my heart rate.
Well, and then one of the other guys who's fighting down there, he, like, flew to California to get his exam because there's a doctor that will do everything in one building.
Yeah, they do, like, everything in one visit, like, all the
fight
exams.
doctor.
Yeah, and it's like $800.
Maybe that's the name. Maybe that's his name. He's, like, got a card.
I'm willing to bet that he denies very few people their clean physical.
I think I read or heard from somebody. I think I heard from somebody, not read, because I wouldn't have read this. But that, see, I'm turning into you. I'm just making stuff up.
I don't make things up. What are you talking about?
There was that podcast you did with Jenna, and you're like, I just made a bunch of stuff up at the beginning.
I only made one thing up, but I swear I read it in school. I swewer. But
it was really funny. So I'm listening to that podcast, and like the first 5 minutes, you're like, I just made up a bunch of stuff. Enjoy it.
No, there was one philosophy that I was talking about that I swear I had read about, and I really thought that I knew what I was talking about, and then like I afterwards was doing a bunch of Googling and it didn't exist. Like it was just a thing that I apparently made up on accident.
You never know, though.
But it was a legit philosophy. I had a conversation with Sean Reedy about it on his episode about that very thing because he has a degree in philosophy.
I mean, I think anything like can be a philosophy, right? I mean, maybe it wasn't one that was already established, but it could be yours.
But anyways, yeah, Chris, the gentleman I'm talking about, I want to give his name away. He went down and did the exam, but what I think it is that I thought I heard that the doctor is actually like someone who is affiliated with the licensing.
Yeah, he's a commissioned doctor.
Yeah, so I think that makes it a little more legit.
Yeah, no, I was joking before, like, you know, because like there really is not a lot of incentive. Like they're not charging very much.
No.
For them to fake it. But, you know, so I really appreciate that California is really looking after fighters because, like, honestly, if I had CTE already, it would have been great to know. I would have, like, look, I got to back out.
Well, I mean, that was
like,
kind of our fear. We were like, oh, God, he's going to get his MRI back.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, goodbye, California.
How'd you even get it? Like, they're so hard to get.
You know, it's one of these things, like, I hear this, and I have my life is weird that way. Like, sometimes I just walk in places and people, like,
oh,
give
it's
me
so
stuff.
annoying.
It's mom, you're cute.
So mom and I go
little
and try to
old me.
open a business account at our bank. And they're like, no, you need to have all these forms and all these papers. Hunter walks in and he's like, I want to start a business account. And they're like, oh, sure, sir, we'll help you right now.
No problem.
You don't need to have any of those papers.
I literally didn't know, like, my business identification number. Like, they were just like...
They made us fill out, like, 20 pages of paperwork.
Don't you think it's just because he's adorable?
I think it's sexism.
I mean, it's going to be adorable sexism. You know,
Not
I could
okay.
Whatever, that goes the other way around with women all the time. Like, women get things because they're hot.
No. Can I tell you, when Hunter and I were dating, I think you were at this party. Landon had a party at his business. Do you remember? It was like a beach party or something.
Oh, yeah, post-apocalyptic beach party.
Yeah,
yes.
we went to this party, and I think you were there, and we were there, and Hunter had a fight that night, and you lost.
Yeah.
And you, like, were really beat up. Like, you were really messed up from this
remember
fight.
that.
Yeah.
And we go in, and you're like, I'm in so much pain. And I was like, oh, has anybody offered you anything to smoke, you know, to help with your pain? And you're like, no. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm a woman.
Yeah, right.
People are always offering me drugs and alcohol.
This is true. Like, yeah, it doesn't go that way. I mean, you know, it's...
But for a minute, I was a little confused.
Like, what do you mean?
You just, the perks.
Yeah, you know, I would definitely take, like, many, like, greater pay, more favorable treatment in business and in society, and a lack of fear of harassment and victimization over some free drinks.
No, that's true. It's not
honestly,
worth it.
like, seriously, if you could just check a box every year, it'd be like, okay, what gender are you? Male, female, other, or whatever. Like, we write in box. I would be male every year, no problem. Not because I think it's better, because it's treated better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so what's your training look like? Sorry, Benji, I'm pod hopping. Is that what it is?
No, pod hogging. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to mention that this is the timer that you use if I start to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I don't think we've ever had an issue with you.
We should get out for Laura.
Shut up.
Well, I've been pod hogging a lot less since I stopped drinking.
That probably makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's a good point. Like, it's a funny thing. Like, I've gone different directions in my time as a fighter. Like, you know, my coaches, like, we were operating, I think, with some of the best training at the time. And, you know, it was all just volume and intensity also. Like, back in the day, you come in your class and you go in and you do, an hour of kickboxing and an hour of jiu-jitsu, and then let's like get a half hour of sparring in. Or we'd have like fighters training where you do like, okay, so let's do 45 minutes of hard conditioning where you are exhausted. Now let's spar for another 45 minutes. And like, you're going hard, like you're throwing shots. Cause of course you're tired, which can, it's funny. People don't really get it. Like, oh, you'd be like light. I'm like, no, when you're exhausted, you have no control. And you're just trying to make someone go away. Like they're in front of you and you're like, just go away.
And like you're doing repetitions of bad form.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely put sparring before conditioning.
Yeah, and it was just that, and like the thought process makes sense. It was always like you want to be tired because like you're going to feel tired in the fights. You want to be used to operating and used to performing under those conditions. And I actually think that's a smart thing to do sometimes. And
which is why we do Shark Tanks.
Yeah, of like, and other things. Sometimes I will condition first, just for that experience.
Well, and sometimes you want to see, like, when people are really tired is when you see where they're gonna fuck up.
Well, their really bad habits come out.
And their mental fortitude as well.
Exactly. Yeah, like mental toughness is something that you can definitely develop. Like, I think it's not like, you look at the military is really good at this, right? And you have to put the people through hardship to develop mental toughness, and that's one of them. Like, but we found kind of other methods, and we've been playing with them and having good success. Like, so anymore, like for our fighters training, we do sparring first because I want people to be relatively fresh to avoid injury.
I want them to think about what they're doing.
Yeah, and I try to keep it to 20 to 30 minutes of sparring. Maybe a little longer if we're going light. And then, we have a condition afterward. And, I've been seeing good results. Like, the mental toughness training comes in the conditioning typically. Like, that's the thought process, is to like make it hard enough that you have to suffer a little bit. And then like other things, like, you do hill sprints for that same reason, of like something kind of unreasonable.
Get to the point where you've reached the maximum that you are willing to endure, and then push that threshold.
Exactly.
Well, and I think that like having the standards for people fighting too has really weeded out people who probably would never be able to fight otherwise. Like, our expectations are a lot higher than when we first started owning the gym. Like, right now, like if you want a title fight, you better be at the gym every day, except for maybe one day a week. And then, and your free time, you need to be doing cardio. If you want to do a smoker, it has to be like 3 or 4. If you want to do axe, 3 or 4, maybe one extra day. But like I feel like by having those higher standards of like the fight team, that you guys have been performing better.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's good for me, for my sake as a coach, to like have a set standard that I can apply rather than trying to come up with something individual for each person. And there is still individual variation. Like, everyone's a little different.
If people have like issues with their body where they can't train a certain way,
injuries or other issues like that, we work around it. But
we're not talking about you, Gutter, but we are.
Oh, but yeah.
Like breaking your hip is like does limit you in some ways in your training. Like,
the techniques you can apply. Yeah.
He can't run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's just, you work around that. You find there's other solutions you can But as far as my training's concerned, it's been good. Like, it's been real good. Like, coming in the evening, like, I usually do like an AM session, like evening session with like, I do cardio in the morning. Either like lately instead of running, I've been doing more rowing, just because it's like I'm getting older and my ankles start to bother me. Like, my ankles roll inward when I run. Mm-hmm. Like, when I got my fancy new running shoes, they like videotape me running on the treadmill, and they showed my ankles rolling in, and it's like really annoying because I feel like you could stop that with just like intending not to have that happen, but it's apparently structural. Mm-hmm. So I do something with less impact now, and I typically do the AM training session and the evening training session, and then and usually like Tuesdays I go down to spar at C3. My Charlie's Combat Club in Everett, my coach's gym, with some of the guys like Ryan Kuczynski and
Ryan's a beast though.
Yeah, he
is. I feel like Ryan's a beast.
Like,
because you always look beat up when you come home.
I do, and like I trained to spar with Jake Fernie down there, who's like
He's a really good grappler.
Well, exactly, grappler and striker. So like it's almost nicer to spar with someone more technical because you kind of like you can play the technical game, but with like Ryan, he's just so explosive. Like, and he's got a good technique.
Man, that kid's gonna be big.
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot of potential. And he's very dedicated at a relatively young age. He's like 20.
He's there in the middle of the day training, has a job. I mean, he's exciting to watch too. Like, I can see him going really far in MMA.
You could slice Bellingham with those abs.
I know, right? I know. No, you should look at the pictures on Instagram. Like, he never has a shirt on in any of the pictures.
I should go on Instagram to look at a guy's abs.
Yeah.
No, like, you have to admire people's physique, right? I mean, for what it is. I mean...
I'm just kidding.
Now you're going to go look.
Fuck yeah, I am. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a sexy man. No, I'm just sad he cut his hair. You know, he used to be
He used to have, like, a lion's mane.
Yeah, no.
It was a good look for him.
Yeah.
Now he just looks like a normal guy.
Okay, well, I'm tagging him in this.
Good. And on Saturdays, I go train with the pro team down at Charlie's also. I want to get over to Landon Showalter's gym, Arlington Combat Academy, and get some training with them.
Yeah, they can beat you down, too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's like, where I grew up. Like, going down to Landon's or Charlie's for their fighters training and getting the crap kicked out of me every week. It was good times.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. Like, just how that can like change who you are, like, and influence your development.
You know where else I want to go? I have so many places that I want to go visit. We always we make friends with people at fights, like coaches and like gym owners and the fighters too, because the fighters, fighters are so nice, to be honest. You fight them, you guys win, you lose, vice versa, but people are just great in this community, in the MMA community. We need to get down to Kindred, because Kyle McCutcheon's been like a lifesaver. That's Austin's coach.
Yeah, like,
did
you guys already mention that Austin's doing the gi thing?
Yeah, we mentioned him, but yeah, I'll do a little plug for him,
No, he's really cool though. Hunter went to New York with him to go take a seminar.
Kyle McCutcheon, not Austin, but Austin's been one of my training.
Actually, you took Austin's place.
I did. Austin couldn't make it because he went to Switzerland instead, like a weirdo.
Yeah, and then Hunter got to go train with Danaher instead.
Yeah, but yeah, he was so Austin. He got an opportunity to train, teach in Switzerland for like 3 months.
But he doesn't like cheese and he doesn't like chocolate.
And so he was just sort of like
Switzerland.
I was joking earlier.
But he likes Switzerland too. It's just he's funny.
I was just joking that he's like he hates mountains. Like it's like
what do you do there?
Yeah, exactly right.
Does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's all he cares about. But I've been training with him for a long time. Like it was funny how it happened too, because like at first he was just this guy out there in the community, and like one of my fighters actually was scheduled to fight against him. And we fought him, and we beat him, like, of course,
Well, yeah, it was Luis, right?
Yeah. So
Luis, I remember Charlie came to us, and he was like, "I've got this match, I've got this kid. Does Luis want to fight him? His coaches want him to fight a really good kickboxer."
Yeah, so
see how he does.
We did a kickboxing fight, and we won a decision. It wasn't like a blowout or anything, but after that, he broke off from his team at the time. And I don't know the details of it, so I'm not going to try to say what it was. But
it wasn't him. It was just the gym closed, I think.
Yeah, the gym shut down for various reasons. And so he was kind of gymless. So he was setting up for fights. Like, that's how he was training. Was every other week he was going and fighting for a while there.
And Charlie, it was so funny. Charlie and Landon are like, he's so cool.
Wait, Austin was?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fighting every week. That was his training camp.
He was teaching a little bit because he did karate forever. He was teaching karate at a karate school, and he was asking people if they wanted to roll with him after karate class.
That's how duck jitsu started.
Yeah, he was just sort of doing jiu-jitsu with people on the karate mats or whatever they do. Harvard 4, I don't know. How you practice.
They have
karate.
mats at karate schools.
They probably.
Yeah, it depends on the karate school.
But so he was doing some jiu-jitsu with them, and then basically fighting.
He was going to tournaments every week too, so it was like fight tournament, and we'd see him everywhere. because he was always there.
And eventually he was fighting in one of these shows, and like he didn't have anyone there to corner him. He had no,
he was just there alone.
So like he was like, "Hey, can you corner for me?" And I'm like, "Sure, of course, like I'll help out." So I did, and then like I ended up competing against him at a tournament, and like it was a tough competitive match, but he beat me. And so I was like, "You should come up and train sometime." And so we just started coming up and like training together pretty like on a regular basis, like a couple times a month, and learned a lot from him. Like he, like in the space from when he first started fighting to that time period when he like beat me at the tournament, like it was like 2 years, and his progression was insane. But he's also a 22-year-old with, he was at the time, with such an unusual focus. Like,
he
knew exactly
was
what
a
he
wrestler,
wanted to do.
and he just jiu-jitsu was natural for him to get into.
Right, and like and I think that's the main thing. Like people who accomplish a lot is that they have a singular focus, and they're willing to sacrifice other things like in their lives. Like he's got, he's been basically living as a professional jiu-jitsu athlete for like 2 years now, or a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And there's not a lot of money in it, as you might imagine. So he's making sacrifices that I never would have made.
Well, and you've gotten a lot of really good opportunities from knowing Austin, which has been really nice. Like
right, and vice versa too.
Like Austin messages us, and he's like, "Are you going to Nogi Summit?" And we're like, "Well, no, I saw it." And I was like, "Well, you know what? Let me do this." I bought Hunter a ticket to go to it, and it was funny because there were no slots left at this Nogi Summit. And I message the owner of 10th Planet, Phil Schwartz, and I'm like, "Oh, my husband really wants to do this. Our friend told us about it. He wants to head down." And Phil's like, "I have an extra spot I can make." So he made a spot for us to go. And then New York happened because of Austin too, because actually no, this is how it happened. You guys, he did a tournament at Evolve Fight Night, and a bunch of people dropped out, and so he was like, "Hunter, please do this tournament for me. It's totally not your weight class." And then you won the tournament.
Yeah.
Like you just slaughtered everybody apparently. And then he was like, "Well, the winner of the tournament gets this like seminar or this private lesson with Ethan Krillinson, who's going to come out for a seminar." Well, Ethan canceled. So then Austin was supposed to go to New York, and he ended up going to Switzerland. So Kyle, who owns Kindred, was like looking for somebody to go, and so we subbed Hunter in because he's another tiny guy. So then you got to go to New York.
We're basically interchangeable, Austin.
I know, it's so much.
Anyway.
So like, but like all these really cool instances. And then when you're in New York, you go to Henzo's, and you're just rolling around with people, and this guy comes up to you, and he's like, "Hey, my name's Ethan Krillinson, the guy Hunter was supposed to have a private lesson with." Really freaky, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's just, it's a small community. Even at the highest levels, like, it's a funny thing. Like, you go to tournaments, and you end up interacting with, like, the stars.
Yeah, there'll be UFC
sport.
Fighters there grappling.
Yeah, or, you go to, like, local amateur fights, and, like,
There's Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people, it's, like, it's very accessible still, which is really nice. I really like that aspect of it. And,
yeah,
like, especially if you train, like, you see someone on TV you admire, and you can go to their gym and, like, probably go train with them, or at least learn from them. I mean,
well, and just the like, one thing that I like a lot about MMA, and which is why I would never like stop being an MMA gym. Like, I don't ever want to shift our focus so much that we're running like a karate school or like taekwondo, or not changing every other week to make money, because that's not what it's about. It's about the culture and the people. A lot of it, and then we do martial arts also, but like...
And there are karate schools like that, too.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't want to be a catch-all for everything.
The more traditional the martial arts get, the less of money-making they are. Like, if you look at, like, a karate school or taekwondo school that's, like, one of those, like, contract schools where they're promising you a black belt within 2 years.
Yeah.
Those are not traditional at all. They're just like business models. That's all they are.
There's too much rigor, I think, in truly traditional martial arts. Like, and the same thing with fighting. Like, it's really interesting owning a gym because you get some really interesting phone calls and people coming in. And this is like, I'm not a particular person because this is an archetype. But you get people coming in and they're like, hey, you know, I want to fight. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you should come in and train.
This is why we have like standards also to sort of like because those kind of people, you never know if they're going to be serious or if they're going to get discouraged really quickly. And the process of them getting that way is really hard.
Well, it's like, so, you know, and then they like, I want to fight. I'm like, okay, you should come train. And then they like, usually they start telling me about how the experience they have. And it's always like, you know, I did karate, I did taekwondo, like, you know, I was a wrestler and I've got 100 street fights and I won all of them. And I'm like, okay, come train. Like, that's the only way through this. Like, and it's, you know, no one really has a conception of how much time and really hard work it takes to actually be any good at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, like tonight, like I felt so bad we were late. Hunter got home at 10 o'clock. Because that's like owning a gym and being a pro fighter.
Well, yeah, and like part of it was too, you know, I even thought about, because our kid does our jiu-jitsu class, so she did jiu-jitsu as, you know, I was running it, and like, and then Tony was teaching kickboxing tonight, so I was like, you know, I could take her home, but I have to train, you know, I have to train for this fight, so like, you know, she had to sit at the gym for another 2.5 hours. And she was a trooper about it. Like, she's a good kid, but like, you know, I feel bad because now, you know, she's late. She gets home late for her bedtime. She has to wolf down some food and then get right off to bed.
You know, that was the funny thing about the other night. So Austin called us the other night to talk about like the new gi program that's coming up on Monday, and he just like yelled a bad word, and we're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "I just dropped my food in the clean kitchen," and we're like, oh shit, he's eating at 9 o'clock at night just like us.
Right.
Yeah, and just like me and my kids. It's like,
exactly.
The thing is, like, I'm not even fighting right now, but like when you make the decision to be a committed fighter, like everybody who's close to you makes a sacrifice.
No, for real.
Well, here's the funny part of the story. So like he's eating and he gets a phone call and he's like, oh, I have to take this, and he puts it on speakerphone and it's like a 3-way call. And it's his friend Morgan from Kindred, and he's eating too. The four of us are eating dinner on the phone, having a business meeting, because we all work and own gyms.
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting community because, you know, we're all kind of night owls. Like, I don't trust anyone who gets up real early. It's like, it feels wrong, you know? Well, you just go home and you go
but
right
not
to bed.
everybody can own a gym.
Yeah, I know. See, I you know, it's hard. Like, and it's also like I've had people tell me like, oh, you must have like the best job, like, because I explain like how many classes I teach a week, and they're like, oh, you're only teaching like 4 to 6 hours a day. That's not bad.
But you know, like you're working one-on-one with people. You do private lessons.
Well, beyond that, like
training.
You know,
you also clean the toilet.
Yeah, clean the toilet. You gotta, you know, clean the mats, clean the gym. Do marketing, all the things that come into owning a business. Answer
emails. I think probably the thing that takes the most time is answering emails and calls.
Yeah, the calls especially. Like emails, I you know, like I have kind of like the form down. Like I try not to use a form letter because it gets obvious and like it doesn't exactly mesh up with what someone is asking. But like I have in my mind the structure of a form letter basically that I customize to each person, but the phone calls, like you get these calls, and sometimes they're just honestly just kind of crazy people who call up and they want to tell you about their time they stole a man's soul in the desert.
Well, there was one guy who didn't even live here.
Oh,
like, he was just calling us. You know what I do love though? My favorite interactions with the gym. Gear manufacturers.
Oh yeah.
So like this is how fucking funny gear manufacturers are.
Somebody from Pakistan. Like Pakistan messages you on Facebook.
No, they're all from Pakistan. I think they're the same company. Really, it's just different people.
There was this one person named Aisha Butt, and like they just kept blowing my phone up. Like they
trying to sell you gear.
They friended me on Facebook, and yeah, they wanted to be my gear manufacturer.
No, can I tell you? They will always try to add themselves to the student group. And I was like, decline. You don't go to our gym, and you can't be harassing our students. But so you know how Gunnar won the Koga belt.
Mm-hmm.
So we posted the belt and him in the picture of the belt, and I'm like, I was kind of griping because they do at Koga they do this thing where they do a picture belt for the pictures in the ring, and then they take that belt and they give you just a regular belt. Like it's a super blinged out belt for the pictures. And I was like, I wish we'd been able to keep the really blingy one, but the other one's pretty good. And I get an email from a manufacturer, and he's like, how was it worded? It was super funny.
Hello, I am.
Is there a problem with the belt in which Gunner wears?
No, it was like, the guy
it was
like,
something.
Whatever his name was, and he's like, we are a manufacturer of belt that Gunner wear.
And I'm like, dude, Gunner only won that belt like 20 minutes ago, and they're already hitting us up.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Like they're obviously are the manufacturer because they had a picture of it like in box. Like they're like, this is what we.
Well, and I'm like, this is great. Like when Gunner starts his own gym, we can get his belts made, and he can have a copy in his gym.
I just think it's funny that
But like 20 minutes later, he's already on it.
Well, the manufacturer is also like. Hey, we made this belt, but what you don't understand, sir, is that we're not just going to order a bunch of belts. Like, that's not something we do.
But it was just funny.
And everyone's got their hustle.
I've been tossing around the idea of starting a gear brand for a while.
Yeah?
Which would be funny.
What would you call it? Well, oh shit, your last name's Warrior. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, but no, like there's already been
two
companies that were Warrior that went out of business.
Well,
Third time's a charm.
Don't do it.
I think it's just such a generic like.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Well, no, somebody just recently liked our page, and they were like Warrior Camp Fight Team, and I was like, are they liking us because of the Warrior Boot Camp? Like, this is really bizarre. I'm like, are they going to send us a cease and desist letter for Benji?
Is it on Instagram?
I think it was on Facebook, actually.
Game recognizes game.
Because they're probably following hashtags that are similar.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense.
I do have a funny Austin story since we're going to talk about the new program very soon, I'm sure.
Are we?
Like, so when Austin started coming up and training with us, he would come up, and like one time he was just kind of lingering around the door. And he turns to us, and what did he say? Do you remember, Hunter?
No idea. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Do you remember? He was like, you guys don't have a gi program.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, sorry, I didn't recognize the lead-in.
Yeah.
He was like...
let me stomp your foot. And you know it now.
Why would I? I would just be distracted by the pain.
I know, I'm just kidding.
So, Austin was like, you guys don't have a gi program. Like, and we were like, no, we don't. Like, at the time, and I'm still a blue belt, but, we were running like a gi class that was like basically open mat.
Gi club.
You're
Yeah.
not a blue belt, dude.
What?
You're not a blue belt. Your belt is blue, but you're not a blue belt.
Hey. Like it'll happen when it happens. Like it's one of these things. Like
Someday he'll be a bride and not a bridesmaid.
Let me like, for those who don't know, jiu-jitsu belting. Like, and I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy. Like, I do practice jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu.
You seem like a jiu-jitsu guy.
Like, well, I say that, I mean, like, with the capital J, or the capital B, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like, because, like, I came up from a fighting background, so, like, well, it definitely is my style and, like, what I like to do, but...
You're not an elitist, Puritan...
Well, that's the thing, there is, like, this orthodoxy in Brazilian jiu-jitsu in, like, the traditional sense, like, the very Gracie jiu-jitsu, and... there are some good things about it, but one of the negative things about it is that belting is like this sacred act. Like, you're getting the quickening when the belt gets put on you and you have your new powers and stuff. And also like, there's all this weird juju or surrounding the belts of like, you don't question your belt rank, you don't like talk about belting and who's going to get belted, who's not going to get belted.
Well, even there's some systems where if you're like your gi comes undone and your belt's undone, you have to turn away from your teacher.
Yeah, the face away from the instructor.
And so like it's always interesting now that we've had a gi program for like the last year, like seeing the different behaviors from people. Like some people bow at the mat, some people still do that tucking thing, some people don't do it at all. Like, it's interesting to see the variety of students from different types of gyms.
Right, because we were pretty informal.
Wait, tucking thing?
Oh, like, so if your belt or your gi comes undone, you have to turn away from your instructor, the tucking thing. Like tucking your gi in.
Oh.
That's what I call it.
Really? I don't do that.
No, we never, like, it was never a thing we cared about. Like, Landon, like asked you to turn away. Like, that's, like, a thing. But, like, and
it's just probably because a lot of his students don't wear underwear.
Maybe, I don't know. But no, hey. But like it's
we can't talk. A lot of our students don't wear underwear either.
they're just elements of tradition. Like so it's just a funny thing, like the people who are like the interesting like way these things like sort of, because like I think jiu-jitsu was a disruptive force for a long time. Like it was the new kid on the block coming out being disruptive, and like we're eschewing all these traditions and like, you know, focusing on results-based martial arts. And then over time that ossification creeps in, and like traditions become enshrined, like practical choices become enshrined in tradition. And, you know, how things are supposed to have been done are like, or things that were done for a reason now become things that you do because that's how it's done.
Yeah, like the circumstances that made it practical are not even in the picture anymore.
Right. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because originally, like even the gi, for instance, the gi is now like a piece of equipment that defines the art, right? Like, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu would not be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu without the gi.
Really, it was just like your underwear.
Well, that was the thing. Like, that's what people wore at the time.
Like underneath the samurai armor and stuff.
Yeah, like, yeah, you'd wear a kimono top and, like, pants. And, like, that was what people wore their day-to-day. And so that's why people were wearing that stuff when they could, like, fight each other. And that's when, you know, when it came over to Brazil, that's what came with them, right? Mm-hmm. And then that was, like, wow, the art was developed. And I think if you wanted to create the real Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like, in Washington State, you'd be training in a hoodie.
Or
right?
like if you were
And
like
there'd be like techniques for pulling the strings in the hoodie.
Yeah, right.
Wrapping
you know,
them around
what I don't
people's
understand though is that, like, you know, why Brazil? Why did you pick up the gi? Because I mean, you guys could be naked. I mean, it's really hot in Brazil. I think gis are not exactly the best thing to wear in Brazil.
And like, well, that's the funny thing.
Like they didn't go like a capoeira thing, because I think capoeira they don't wear a shirt.
No, the women wear like a sports bra basically, and like they have like these pants that are really similar to jiu-jitsu pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so in Brazil, like it was a class thing. Like.
Oh, people having money.
Yeah, if you have money, you have money for a gi, and so you had all the no gi grapplers in Brazil. Like the division came about because like they had these matches between people in gi and no gi.
Oh no, Hunter, we were peasant.
Maybe that's why there's that like elitist kind of like attitude.
Honestly, I think there is like that is a big part of it. Like, you know, these gi guys were like upper class, and they were beating up the zapateros, the shoemakers, right? Because they were leg lockers. So people in the no gi guys were leg locking, and they were like, oh, you're just a zapatero.
Then what's the deal with Sambo? Because Sambo, you got the shorts and you got the gi top. It's like very confusing.
No one knows like what Russia's doing over there.
Like, well, it's like,
and the shoes.
And then they got shoes. It's like they took jiu-jitsu, they took capoeira, and they took wrestling, and they were like, put them together.
But yeah, I mean, but no one wore the shorts. That was like, especially the full length gi top.
And
like,
they're tiny shorts too, because you did Sambo, right?
Yeah, I did. I got a blue belt in Sambo, but
they took the gi, and then they took 70s jogging shorts.
Yeah, right. It's honestly like a goofy thing, but like the thought, like they do a lot of leg locking in Sambo, so I think they didn't want the friction of the gi pants to get in the way.
So funny, dude. I want to wear short shorts and a gi top for Halloween, and just people will be like, "What are you?"
I think
I'm a Sambo fighter.
I think you should be Chuck Liddell for Halloween.
I would have to keep drinking.
Yeah, right.
I know, you're not. You would have to have a belly.
I need to gain a little more weight.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You have to do it for
Jeremy met Chuck Liddell. Did you know that? At the Vatican, of all places.
Who?
Jeremy met Chuck Liddell.
Oh, yeah,
at the
I saw
Vatican.
that.
Isn't that weird?
I thought you said he beat Chuck Liddell. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
he beat Chuck Liddell. Jeremy's a badass. He would.
Well, I mean, Chuck Liddell's a big guy. Like,
Is he not in the same weight class?
No. Chuck Liddell's like fought at 205.
Oh, he's big.
Can you imagine Tony fighting Chuck Liddell?
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Oh, that would be crazy.
I'd watch that fight.
I would,
I mean, okay, Chuck Liddell now. Like, Chuck Liddell in his prime, like, I don't think Tony would beat him. But I'm calling you out, Tony. But I think, honestly, check it out now. Tony's got a good shot. Like, just got to avoid that right hand.
Dude,
here's
I
the
knocked
thing.
out a guy that was similar to Chuck Liddell when I was 16.
We
Yeah.
actually, what we kept saying, this is going back for a minute, when Hunter was getting his MR results, I was like, if they pass Chuck Liddell, Hunter, they're going to pass you. Don't worry about it.
For real. I mean, if you've ever seen, like, pictures of brains with CTE, it gets real scary. Like, people have literal holes in your brain. Like, it's,
It looks like Swiss cheese.
your brain is like, but yeah, it's like, it's crazy.
I never even got back to the story about Austin in our gym.
Yeah, so actually, let's do
This
the thing.
is like 5 years ago.
But yeah, so Austin, like, we were training, he was leaving, and he was just saying that, like...
He's just
like,
kind of loafing around in the doorway. He wouldn't just... Because
So,
he's
yeah,
the kind of
he-
guy that just leaves.
He asked, like, like, you don't have a gi program? I'm like, no, we're kind of running a thing, but it's not really an official program because, like, I'm not qualified to teach it. And he's like, when I get a brown belt, I'm going to teach at your gym. Like, not like, hey, when I get a brown belt...
But Hunter and I are just like gobsmacked. We're like, what?
And he's like, I'm going to teach at your gym when I get my brown belt. And I'm
And we're
like,
like, what?
okay.
Well,
Like,
we're a little early. We're a little early on the schedule, but I'm like
and he was,
fucking
like, a
Ostradamus here.
Well, he was newly minted purple at the time, so it was sort of like, okay, in like a few years you can call me about that.
Okay, but you have to interview because this is our business and this
But it was
is a
just
job.
funny. Like, he's like the kind of guy who's got a lot of chutzpah.
Well, no, we joke all the time. We're like, Austin's tree frogging us.
Tree frogging, for don't know, it's like our little phrase. Like, so there's like types of tree frogs that the males just hop on the female's back. And, like, they don't attempt to mate. They just, like, stay there until the female gets worn down to the point where she just consents to mate with him to make him go away.
But I think Austin was like, Austin's long-term plan is just to, like, work for us at our gym.
stick around long enough that we'll just sort of have to hire him.
With
It's
his
like,
sticky frog hands.
yeah, right. And also he's got a great back mount game, so it works.
No, exactly.
He's hard to
No.
shake off your back.
I have to tell you, it's
That's
been...
how I got Laura, though.
Oh, man.
Persistence.
Tree frog the shit out of me.
Yeah. Little did you know. This tree frog will be unemployed soon. With CTE and...
Oh, man. Should have married the rich uggo I was dating at the time.
But yeah, so I'm really excited to bring Austin in. I think he's going to bring a really fresh, new look at things. He's like, he's young.
He's really blown up recently too. Like it's so funny. We're really proud of him. Like, he's really doing the Pacific Northwest proud. I mean, he could have just left and gone to LA and could have gone to New York and trained with the best people in the world. But instead, he believes that he can make his own training partners. He's bringing people up, and he will continue to grow with them, and rather than go somewhere else.
I think that's really important, actually, like, to talk about, because, like, I've been through, there are these cycles in gyms, and, I've been doing this since 2003, and, like, no matter how tight and, like, awesome of a group you have, guys and ladies you have in a gym at that moment, like, you just look around the faces, and in, like, 2 years, almost all of them are going to be gone. And for various reasons, injuries, you get people just move, like, for opportunities, life changes, like, they get disillusioned, quit fighting, or maybe they just retire because they don't want to do anymore.
Yeah, injury.
Yeah, so many reasons. And, because, like, and eventually what tends to happen is that you stick around long enough, you end up owning the gym. Like, and that's exactly what happened to us.
Yeah.
You're going to teach for sure, but, but that's just of the people who stuck around long enough to teach, you stay long enough, it's probably going to end up being your gym.
Well, and that's kind of how it is. Like, I feel like as a gym owner, and this is something I didn't understand when you were going through the process with, like, your coaches. Like, first of all, it starts out like this. Do you want to run a kids class? No one volunteers but Hunter. So that was kind of like put you on a track to being, like, a coach in some ways because you were willing to step up. So, like, now that we own a gym, when I go to Benji, you want to run a boot camp, and he's like, yeah. And then it turns into, do you want to cover a class? And then it turns into, do you want to corner a fight while we're in Tokyo eating, a lot of bad food?
That was
great food.
You know what I mean? So, like, these are, like, you guys, I don't think anybody really realizes it, but when you start to own a gym and you have, like, senior students like you and Tony and Gunnar and Clint, is that we start slowly asking you little things, and
Yeah.
the fact that you say yes kind of takes you to the next step, because there are a lot of people will ask and they'll just be like, no, I'm not sure, I don't think I'm okay doing that.
Well, we're
And
just
then
not
we're like,
interested.
then that's something we will ask a couple more times sometimes, and then other times we won't, because you want to gauge that person's interest, but those are the people that you are going to bring up to be like your coaching staff with you.
Yeah, and I think more, it's particularly to this case, like, you know, it's always uncomfortable being the best guy in a gym, because that means it's harder for you to grow, right? And I've known a lot of people who are in that scenario where they're like their best guy at their gym, and so they move and find a different gym.
Yeah, they
Right.
can't handle it. They just,
And-
it freaks them out.
Well, it also they feel like, hey, I'm not growing, so why would I be here? Like, my thought was always, as the cycle continued and people left and came in, I would of course keep getting better. And so for a while, like when the coaches opened up Bellingham Mixed Martial Arts, I'd already been training for 7 years at that point. And so I was definitely like one of the senior guys on the floor. And I'm not the most talented guy out there by any means, but you know, I was definitely the best guy in there for a while.
You're a hard worker.
Well, that was what it was, you know, like I just keep doing it. So
Yeah, it's a funny thing. We joke all the time. I'm like, Hunter, it's not who's the best, it's who's left, and you're the only one left.
right, of that original crop.
Or
But, like,
anybody.
you know, I had
in
to
your
like
gen.
train people to be good partners for me. I had to teach them enough so that they would challenge me and I could kick their ass more on an even basis. Like, and that's something Austin has really done super well, is that he teaches people things really, really well. In like he believes in teaching someone thoroughly in one spot. So like, you know, this person may not know how to do an arm bar to save their lives, but they know they are dangerous in back mount. You put this guy in back mount and they can tap out a purple belt, they can tap out a brown belt, because they know that in that position super well.
And he's willing to work with anybody. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care if you're a black belt. He doesn't care if you're a white belt. He has taken some of his training partners who've never had any experience with jiu-jitsu, and I mean, now they're taking gold and blue belt divisions and up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a real talent for developing strong skill sets in people. And, you know, I think he did that out of necessity at first because he had no real training
And
partners.
himself as well. Because,
Right.
you know, some gyms are very weird. Like, our gym, we never realized this until we started going and visiting a lot more gyms. A lot of gyms do not cross-train like we do. We were just lucky we were formed by 3 different coaches who had gyms.
Right, so we'd always get to go play at their gyms. Like, so we'd go from Bellingham, we'd go down to Everett, we'd go down to, like, Arlington. But I didn't really think about that in essence of, like, of course there are sister gyms and their owners own my gym so we could cross-train. But I just sort of started extending that to other gyms. Like, I'd go drop in at this place or that place around. And
then we found out that all these people are gym family anyways because we're all the same lineage.
Right, we keep it tight here in Washington, but like, you know, but then people started coming to us to cross train because we became clear we were open to that.
It was like you and Kyle were in New York, and he was like, "Yeah, I used to fight MMA," and you were like, "Yeah, with who?" And he was like, "Charles Pearson." And you're like, "Me too."
Hey,
And it was like,
fights.
"Oh, we found another cousin."
What's Kyle McCutcheon's gi lineage?
You know, I really should find that out since we're going to be, at least like the gi program for the time period is going to be in that. Right now he's affiliated with Workshop BJJ, which is co-owned by Jin and Aaron Milam. Jin Young, I think.
And Aaron
and they're
Milam
both
owns-
Henzo Gracie black belts.
Yeah, and Jin owns Renzo's in Portland.
Yeah, the Henzo City, Portland. And Jin is part of Workshop BJJ in New York. They split off amicably from the Henzo Gracie like lineage, or
They're
rather,
just doing their own thing.
yeah, they wanted to be more open. Like they kind of wanted to do something a bit more open and freestyle, a bit more than I mean, I think. My perception, and I'm not like a Gracie scholar, but my perception is that the Henzo Gracie school is a little more like open-minded than most Gracie schools. But I think they wanted something even more open and kind of relaxed.
Well, I think they do other types of martial arts too. Like there's a blend there.
Yeah,
Because I know Jin's gym had other stuff going on.
Yeah, like he's sort of like he is the jiu-jitsu guy at the 5 Points Martial Arts Academy. Sick gym if you're ever in New York in Manhattan. It's really cool. Like their space is really neat. And
Well, I think like on this coast, like people do not know this. Aaron Milam is seriously, I think, the best person on this coast up here.
doing
And he's a
jiu-jitsu.
hidden gem.
Yeah, he's really amazing. I think it's hard to quantify best.
I
but,
think he's one of the best.
I mean, he's really good, and his technique is amazing.
I don't know what's going on in Portland, but they've got like three of the best gyms in like Oregon.
It's a cool city. People want to live there.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu people are martial artists or artists. They want to live in an arty city.
Yeah.
You
But yeah, no, Austin's really good at cultivating people. Like, I remember when you guys first started training with each other, like, and he's showing you his system. He never once got frustrated with you. Like, he just, like, and now it's to the point where you guys can just flow roll through the whole system that he has, and there's no issue.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell when you're not, like, he can tell when you're not feeling well, because I remember one day you weren't feeling well and you guys were rolling. He's like, something wrong? And you're like, no, I'm just, like, my neck hurts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're pretty tight at this point. So I'm excited to see what we can do and to really, bring some new, cool stuff in for our students.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, man. I am.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be good stuff.
Like, it's so funny, like, it's, it's kind of like a tale of two cities. It was like the best of times and the worst of times sort of thing, where like we have a lot of people at the gym who are very, very excited, and then we've got another group of people who are very sad, and we're very sensitive to that. So we're trying not to like be too excited about
It's a bittersweet
right now.
transition.
Well, yeah, we want people to have time to grieve and to feel sad and to figure out what they want to do, and not be like, oh my God, we're so excited. Look, Austin. I want to be like, here's Austin. This is what he does. He's starting on Monday.
Yeah, but I think we should probably get going. Go to bed.
Yeah. Was there like?
Yeah. I think. Well, I mean.
Do you want to talk about the schedule real quick, and then we'll?
Well, I mean, yeah. Austin's be
We're
teaching.
all like falling asleep at Denji's table here.
Yeah. I think Austin's
We're all
teaching.
drinking like polar seltzer. We got so much.
Yeah.
You should sponsor Benji's podcast. Seltzer.
Polar seltzer.
That'd be great.
You know
I
what?
really need a fizzy drink while I'm recording.
I will tell you
Yeah.
some funny things that happened this week, because there were a couple that were funny. So I've given up on the sign-up sheet at the gym, and everybody's like, we're so glad you gave up on that. It's really stupid. Don't do it again. And I'm like, oh, guys. And then everybody keeps asking me if they have to wear their sandals at the gym. And I'm like, yes, you still have to wear your sandals at the gym.
Like, we all agreed on that one. That was
Yeah, your feet are gross. Please wear your sandals at the gym.
But I'm excited for Austin coming up. He's going to be teaching at 5:15 Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
And which is only a shame because an asymmetric schedule gives me anxiety.
Yeah,
But
it's
I'm
been,
getting over it.
but everybody seems to love the schedules, so the new
Yeah,
one.
I mean, it works
it's
fine.
weird as hell. Like the not. It's easy when it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays are this way, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are this way. It's really.
I tried to
confusing.
make Hunter feel better. I was like, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. It's a pattern.
No, you can't. You have to centrally. You have to be centrally symmetrical in
You
an
know,
odd number.
You know what I'm.
You can't.
I have to tell you
Don't
what.
you can't. Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Let me tell Hunter, do you have a master's degree in patterns and color?
I have a master's degree in math. Or
Yeah, that is patterns.
I have a bachelor's degree in math. So yes, I know a lot about patterns.
Okay, whatever. Anywho, this is our whole married life.
I know, right?
No, you know what I'm really freaking excited about? So I've added 3 women's classes to the schedule. And, we did this special last month where it was like women could sign up for $80 because it's 80 cents to $1.
That the women earn, like the gender pay gap.
And can I tell you, we've had like 6 or 7 women sign up.
Yeah, and so with the extra ladies in the gym, we're just trying to continue to push that and like get more women involved. And so we're doing a women's only kickboxing Tuesday, Thursday nights, and we're doing a women's only jiu-jitsu on Saturday.
And Penny's going to be facilitating that with Hunter because, of course, she's learning how. See, this is that moment where we ask somebody to do a class or do cornering, and it's either yes or no. She said yes. Yeah. So Hunter's going to help her learn how to teach this class and facilitate it for women. But The really cool thing is that I emailed a lot of the women fighters and jiu-jitsu players in the state, and I asked them if they would be interested coming in on Saturdays and training, but also doing guest teaching.
Yeah.
Because I really feel that as a female gym owner that we really need to build that community and bring them all together and just have everybody work on technique together. It's just really important.
Is it like girls only allowed in the building at that time, or can open mat happen on mat too?
Well, we have open mat actually after, and that's actually open to all gyms. We're going to have sparring and jiu-jitsu.
I think, we'll have to play, I think, 1 or 2 people coming in and rolling wouldn't be too disruptive.
So I need to supplement my training schedule so I can go back to fighting.
Yeah. So I think we'll have to see how it plays out.
Depends on how many people, right?
Exactly. If it's a few people coming in during the class, that'd be fine. But if it's 20 people all trying to come in and open mat it, that's going to be a problem. So,
yeah.
We'll just, everything, it's all I don't like to give definitive answers because,
yeah,
that means, you're stuck with it.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, so at this point, I'll say, we'll see.
People,
so you'd be welcome to come in and check it out.
And a lot of the women have been really excited, though. A lot of the students.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
Can I just stand somewhere and flex?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not Benji's dating service.
Just kidding.
You wear your thong.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My
this may be why we have women's classes.
Banana hammock.
Yeah, no, the actual brand name.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna say it.
What, the ones we bought you in Japan?
Yeah, Hunter and Laura brought me back a banana hammock from Japan.
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny is they sell it in the equivalent of Walmart in Japan.
Don Quixote.
They were like, what do you want from Japan? And I was like, cobra blood. That's what I want.
We actually
There's alcohol that has cobra blood in it. And
we went into several establishments and we asked for cobra blood. And they thought we were crazy.
I know, dude. I would do a shot of that before every fight.
I bet.
If
I'd be in there just knowing that I drank cobra blood for
this. I will tell you, we tried to find the cobra blood. They thought we were crazy. We bought you banana hammock instead.
The funny thing is, though, they recognize what we're talking about. They were just like, no, man.
No, that's
weird.
gross.
Why would you want that?
Yeah, but they brought me a banana hammock instead.
Well, you're the kind of friend that we felt like we could bring you that. We felt like you would. We were wandering around Don Quixote, and they have an adult section, but it's not closed off. It's just there in the open.
Yeah.
And we're walking by, and I've heard of these underwear and on a blog, and I was like, no way, they have these underwear. And I'm just going to say what they're called because it's really awful.
This is Japan, remember.
Japan, their English is not amazing when it comes to products. They're called black man underwear.
And it's sort of I don't know if it's supposed to be I don't know if it has the same meaning.
The guy on the package is white, though.
Yeah. I know. It's so weird. Cause, it might just be they're thinking black man as in dark and mysterious.
Yeah.
Noir. Mysterious, dark,
Yeah.
You're
night.
You're a hard-bitten detective who stalks around in a trench coat and a thong. Solving crimes.
What do they have on them? I don't even remember.
They have I think they have fruit of some sort.
Or are they
cherries,
lips?
maybe?
Yeah,
are they
fruit.
lips?
Oh,
it's fruit. It's a fruit pattern. I remember.
Oh, is it? Oh man, some of them are really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Random stuff.
We should get going.
Anywho, you should do your shout outs so we can finish up.
All right. Showing a shout out to.
We should thank everybody who's been helpful to us this week.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I
mean, Landon Showalter, Charlie Pearson, Amy Pearson, his wife.
Amy Pearson is the shadow queen. She is the best advice.
Every wife's the shadow queen.
No.
But my training partners,
Kyle McCutcheon.
Benji, Kyle McCutcheon.
McCutcheon, yeah.
Clint and
Jeremy
and
Benji.
And Gunnar and Tony. All you guys have been awesome.
You guys have really helped us through this week. It's been really rough.
I really appreciate all of you.
And you guys are setting an example of resilient leadership.
Trying to be.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Because I guess in order to... Because we're in a leadership position, and we have to be resilient, or we're gonna just lose our freaking minds, But
No, yeah.
So it's so I want to just thank everybody there and like thank CFFC for the opportunity to fight down there. I'm really excited.
Well, and like Ryan Diaz, I thank him too because he's gave us some advice and told Hunter to go to MMA Lab.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a cool thing that we didn't even talk about.
I'll even just mention it. Like I'm gonna be flying out to Phoenix next week. For 7 days to train at the MMA Lab down there in Phoenix. It's sick gym. Jared Crouch is like one of the best coaches out there, I think, and it'd be an amazing experience. But I'm kind of considering not going just because like there's so much of people right now. But
you're going.
Laura's trying to convince me.
You're going.
But
I'm going to be at the gym. I'm running classes. No, I'm not. I'm running the desk because that's all I get to do.
Who else trains there?
Oh, there's a big laundry list. Like
there's like 40 pros at that gym.
Yeah, they've got like this huge.
Benji's
pro fight
like,
team.
it's time for a Benji road trip.
I need to get back in shape so I can like.
Yeah, can I tell you? It was funny. We were talking to Ryan, and Ryan's like, "Yeah, you should probably get into shape before you go." Hunter just got out of fight camp when he said that. And I'm like, ah.
So like instructors wise, like, so you have John Crouch, and Jer Aki, Eddie Cha, and they have like Ben Henderson and like,
a lot of people.
Like they've got like a huge Tim Welch and like a bunch of dudes like. Like a really big pro team that are all like a lot of fighters in the UFC. Like it's nuts, and Bellator and other gyms like places like that, and they're really strict. Like if you're fighting there and like you miss a training session, you better have been sick. You better like my mom died or else you're cut. That's it.
Yeah,
like, you don't miss a training session. I think they said like if you're sick, you come in and prove it.
Doctor's note.
Yeah, like pretty much like you come in, you better show me some diarrhea, man.
Take it seriously. I mean, and that's probably why they're a really good training facility.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, it sounds like a great idea to fight until you have to come in 3 times a day and get the shit kicked out of you and get tired.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's anybody else we should thank. I guess thank the students.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being patient with us with the whole situation with, bringing in a new person. Because I know it's really hard bringing in new people and trying new things. And, everything we do, we really just do for the best of the students in the gym.
It's the way of the intercepting fist, though.
Exactly. I think, next week we're going to start doing Krav Maga.
Yeah, we're Krav Maga school now.
We're going to do Chinese healing arts. I mean, one of our students' dads is actually, he does Chinese healing. I mean, I think we should, have him come in and, take over the gym.
Actually, don't do Krav Maga, because do Sistema.
There we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
dude, I can throw some chi blasts around.
Yeah.
Don't even get started with me on that.
Definitely. And, we'll use a belt system. Since none of us are able to turn our hair yellow. So, when we go, Super Saiyan, we'll get, a yellow belt. And then when we go Super Saiyan level 2, we'll get, a yellow belt with, 2 stripes. And...
I actually don't think we should be belt. I think we should do headbands.
Oh, man. You were going to do headbands.
Has to have a rising sun on it.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I have to tell you, though, it's going to be a crazy week next week. We gave Austin a picture when he came back from... Switzerland.
Yeah, it was an unsolicited duck pic.
It's ducks flying, and he's threatening to put it up in the gym and have people bow to it for his gi class.
I just want to have him on Monday, in the center of the mats, in a full lotus, with these duck quacking sounds on the speakers, and have everyone just be greeted with that when they walk in. He won't say anything.
He's a great instructor because he's very funny. But he's very serious, too.
Yeah.
Well, I think he needs to be wearing a gi with, cut off sleeves and, a bunch of medals hanging from his neck and, spike his hair up. And
he's a funny one. For all that, he has a picture with his Ultimate Mat Warrior belt and stuff. He actually, he just threw his when he gets, medals, he just puts them in a box. And then, I guess he came home one day and his family had, set up a nice, display. And he was like, oh, okay.
He doesn't really care about the logs.
No.
You know, he wants to go and he wants to get better at jiu-jitsu.
Well, it's just the feeling. It's not like the actual medals.
Right. But anyway, I think we do
Yeah.
need to go.
Yeah.
No, Hunter's about to fall asleep on Benji's couch.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me to podcast, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.